One of the things I enjoy the most is a walk in the woods. A famous naturalist, author, and environmental philosopher for which a trail is named in California, John Muir, once said, "The mountains are calling, and I must go." In every walk with nature, one receives far more than he seeks. Whether it's a day hike on a local trail or a backpacking trip, my time in nature allows me to clear my head and reflect upon my life. I often find that when I'm having difficulty solving a math problem or perhaps have some writer's block, a good walk can go a long way in sparking my creativity and feeding my soul. Another of my favorite naturalists and authors is Henry David Thoreau. He left the comforts of society to build a simple cabin in the woods on Walden Pond. He's quoted as saying, "I went to the woods because I wished to live deliberately, to front only the essential facts of life and see if I could not learn what it had to teach. And when I came to die, discover I had not yet lived." When you set out for your hike, you will arrive at a trailhead. This is where you park your car, leaving the comforts of your life and embracing the wildness of nature. The trail in front of you is for you to engage with and make your own way. While you likely did some planning prior to your hike, you checked the maps, read all the social media posts relating to the trail, packed your bag with all the necessary gear. You may have decided to set out with a friend, or perhaps you're setting out on a solo hike. There are so many hikers who have made a name for themselves on social media, creating YouTube videos and becoming well-known influencers, sometimes even being sponsored by gear companies. And what I've found both on the trail and off the trail is that everyone has an opinion to share with you about what gear is best, how light or heavy your pack should be, and how many miles you should expect to hike each day. There are hikers who compete with one another for the FKT, or the fastest known time, while other hikers will quickly criticize this group for not stopping and smelling the flowers, enjoying the trail. One thing you'll find is that on many trails, there are often spur trails that lead off onto scenic overlooks. And a person attempting a FKT will certainly bypass these offshoot trails because, well, they'll only slow them down. There are many times that I like to set up my hammock between two trees and maybe just simply pause, though, to feel the breeze, to listen to the leaves rustle and the sunlight dance on the water. It gives me perspective when life seems to be so focused on results and on the mundane monotony of day-to-day tasks. Nature provides me space to stop and to reflect upon my life. It encourages me to look at life from a wider perspective than the narrowed reality for which I often reside. Well, some hikers are so focused on their destination and their timing. Other hikers are obsessed with pack weight and seeking to be known as an ultralight hiker. Depending upon who you talk to, generally, there are weight ranges to be considered an ultralight hiker or a light backpacker. And dialing down your gear and the overall weight of your pack will certainly allow you to go further on a light pack. It's funny, some ultralight backpackers will opt to use pages from their own map books as toilet paper rather than to take some quilted 2-ply in their ditty bag for multi-day trips. You may find yourself, though, digging your own cat hole off the trail when a proper toilet is not available. However, oftentimes, even some of the most fervent ultralighters will opt to take some sort of luxury item. This might be a collapsible cup used for making coffee, or a special pad to sit on around the fire at night. Many beginning hikers will want to take a favorite book with them, as they might wonder what will they do with their downtime before settling down to bed. In my experiences, I'm often either talking with my hiking buddy or simply just too tired to do nothing else but fall asleep. Hiking over uneven ground for hours on end, going up and down slopes, can take a toll on even the most fit bodies, let alone an older one like mine. However, another thing I love about hiking and backpacking is that it's something that both young and old can enjoy. In my experience, one thing that I've come to understand and enjoy is type 2 fun. Type 2 fun is a type of fun that is not always fun at the time. It might be slogging up a mountain or trudging through some mud, or even post-holing through knee-high snow or maneuvering over exposed tree roots. Hikers often refer to this as embracing the suck. This can even include swarms of insects like black flies or mosquitoes that will bite. Or perhaps it's just doing all you can to stay warm in a hammock in near freezing temperatures. And from the sounds of it, you might wonder, why in the world would someone like to do this? Well, type 2 fun is the answer. Like I said, it may really not be fun at the time, but having endured, having persevered through the difficulties of the experience, afterward you can look back and say, I did that. Type 1 fun is the fun that you have in the moment. It's the roller coaster type experience that might give you temporary thrills, but they soon quickly fade into the recesses of your mind. Type 2 fun? Well, that's a badge of honor. It's a testimony to your grit and your tenacity. Nonetheless, like I said, there are people you will encounter on the trail who will be more than happy to tell you what to do, what gear to use, which way to go, or how to go. But only you can determine these things. One of my best friends and I were hiking the Superior Hiking Trail a few years ago and having a great Type 2 time together. On one particular day, we had hiked about 15 miles, and you have to realize that you average around 1 to 2 miles per hour on the trail, depending upon the conditions. So we had been hiking for at least 12 to 14 hours with breaks. We were exhausted when we arrived at where we were going to camp for the night. It was about that time when we were able to get a bit of a cell signal, and my friend got a message that his wife had received the results back from her medical screening. You see, she had previously had cancer. She had underwent treatment and was now back for a routine scan. And unfortunately, she found out that the cancer had returned. And while there was nothing that anyone could do with this particular news at this time, he quickly recognized that he needed to leave the trail and return home. This was not a decision that I could make for him. It was a decision that he had to make for himself. And so we left the trail together, and we planned to return to the trail. We actually had plans to return this past May, but when the global pandemic happened, we decided that we ought to postpone our return. I bring this up to illustrate how sometimes situations come into our lives that necessitate our attention and lead us off into directions and we don't always want to go. There are situations that are just simply out of our control in life, situations that cause us to adapt and to modify our original plans. I think that's where there are many parallels between the journey along the trail and our journey along in life. One of the neat things for all of you who are just beginning your journey is that there is so much for you to experience. Having turned 18, well, it was just this past year or maybe a few years ago, you are all here at Nyack beginning to embark on a new trail that may take you in directions that you would have never dreamed. The trail may be difficult at times. You may experience hardships and struggles. However, through those difficulties and struggles, you will find Type 2 fun. You'll find your grit, your tenacity, and your determination to make it through. When you were a child, your parents probably made a lot of decisions for you, as they should. Your life journey during those first 18 years was largely determined by your parents. However, now that you're an adult and beginning your life journey on your own, there are many decisions for you to make. Some of those decisions you will do well with, while other decisions you'll make mistakes. Even as an adult, you will find people in your life who will tell you what you should do, how you should do it, and so forth. However, only you can hike your own hike. Hiking your own hike is known in the hiking and backpacking community as a bit of a cliche, but it's essentially doing it your way and having the freedom to do it your way. Of course, you'll have to live with your decisions, but what is important is that they are your decisions. Believe me, I've made some poor decisions in my life, but I've learned from those failures, and I would not be who I am today had I not experienced failure. My life has been far from perfect, and frankly, I wouldn't have wanted it to be. The imperfections in life make it unique and notably personal. I'd encourage you to engage in your journey, hike your own hike, and share your stories with others. Don't worry so much about what others will say about how you are hiking your hike. There will always be people who will criticize you. Find happiness in the little moments of life. It's easy to focus on the trail that's ahead of you and not appreciate the present. It's also just as easy to dwell on the mistakes of the past, the trail behind you. Being present in your present will provide so many more opportunities for you finding happiness in the little things, the things that are so commonly overlooked. Accept others and appreciate the differences while reflecting on your own journey. There's so much to experience along the trail of life that I would encourage you to engage in it, and don't be afraid. As a member of the faculty and a student club advisor here at Nyack, I've always enjoyed hearing from former students and seeing them as they've matured and made their own way along life's journey. It's exciting to have the privilege to be positioned here at the trailhead of your journey and to share these brief moments with you as you pursue your educational goals and form friendships with one another, and as you set out on your own hikes, to hike your own hike. Obviously, hiking is a metaphor for the journey of life that is ahead of you. Nonetheless, I look forward to meeting you along the trail, swapping stories, and sharing this portion of your journey as you set out on your hike from your Nyack trailhead.